When looking at instruments, do you pick a more resistant or a less resistant instrument, and how do you think that affects your quality of sound?
In terms of this is going slightly back to making mistakes, but not very long after I got the job, I turned up to a concert in Preston of all places, an out of town concert. Mum and Dad come to the concert, opened the horn box when I got there. Oh God, my horn's at home. And so, okay. So what are you going to do now? Choice 1, resign. Choice 2, drive back home and arrive for the second half of the concert. Or choice 3, which is what I did, do the first half of the concert without a bumper, give the bumper your keys, get them to drive home to get your horn for you and come back. But I didn't even know what mouthpiece I played on. I couldn't even tell you what the mouthpiece is. And then my bumper, out of his little pouch, takes a copy of my mouthpiece and gives me the mouthpiece. That is your mouthpiece. Which tells you, firstly, yeah, that's how good a bumper he is. And I mean, I'd known him for...
Genie out of Aladdin.
Well, it's slightly scary. What was even more scary was that it turned out my second one had also got a copy of my mouthpiece. So that's genuinely weird. But the point about that is only that in terms of choosing instruments, I don't even know. I mean, I know what instrument I play on because I wrote the description of it for the insurance. But it was literally just try that one, no I don't like that one, try that one, no I don't like that one, try that one, I quite like that one, put that one on one side, try that one, no I don't like that one, take a couple of them, yeah that's the one that I like. And looking back through the instruments that I've played, I mean I play now a gold brass Alex 1103. The instrument that I played before that was a nickel silver Yamaha 668. I mean you couldn't get two more different instruments than that. And yet I reckon I sounded pretty much exactly the same on both instruments, to be honest. And ultimately, the thing that I want from any horn is just the feeling when you pick it up that this is going to sound nice. And that's it. And so in terms of mouthpieces, my students learn really, really quickly that it's not a good idea to come to a lesson having changed their mouthpiece. I just don't care. Here's an idea. Go and do some practice. Okay, just pick a mouthpiece that feels comfy, pick a horn that feels all right, and do some practice.
Also great advice, yeah.
I mean, maybe I'm the geekiest one out of it. I mean, so I've messed around with horns a little bit, but nothing too much to this, and I've changed mouthpieces. And the problem is, it is a rabbit hole that you can get lost in, because if you start messing with this and then that, and then you sort of think, oh, okay. And so I've sort of rethought a lot of things, and I've just sort of gone back to the middle of the road, like we were talking about the other day, really, is sort of Paxman 20M is a really good, horn, and you can play professionally on it. Or Alexander 103, and again, in terms of mouthpiece, you don't want to do it. I think anyway, especially students going to college and then just out. You don't want to do anything too extreme. So if you suddenly turn up with a really, really tiny mouthpiece and a massive horn or whatever, or some weird combination, probably your teacher's going to go, that's weird. Don't do that. So at the moment, so you basically sort of middle ground really, and then obviously later on, that's why all this equipment exists. Is that if you want to specialise in being, a superb fourth horn who's got the big fat sound and whatever, and drilled out massive mouthpiece, then fine, go down that route. But naming no names. Sure. But it's sort of Does that make sense? I think basically don't get confused. I'd say.
And I do think what Tim said about he's had completely different horns and he's basically sounded the same. I think people do just sound like them, and you might think, oh yeah, if I swap to this, I'm going to do this, and you'll still just sound like you. So,
I mean, the way to answer that question is Simon Rennie, the guy that I was talking about before, he was the principal at the Opera House when I started. I've got a really, really good take on that about the different instruments. He wanted the whole section to sound like they were playing the same instrument, but he couldn't care less what everyone played. And in the section, when I first started there were 7 of us. And there was Paxmans, Schmitz, Alexanders, Yamahas, nickel silver, yellow brass, gold brass, absolutely everything. And we absolutely sounded like a one section. I've never really played in a section that sounded as good as that when it's those 7 players on playing Romeo and Juliet with 6 horns and a bumper. That's about the best section I've ever played in. And that was nothing at all to do with what instruments they played, and it's absolutely to do with the flappy things on the side of your head and making a sound that you want to make out of your instrument. And Simon's take on that was, so if I give my horn to Simon to play, does he suddenly sound like me? Well, no, of course he doesn't. It's not the instrument that makes the sound.